So let's talk about salary. We all want to hit that maximum potential, right? Well, today we're laying out a really clear, no-nonsense roadmap for piping design engineers, especially if you're working in the Gulf region. We're going to break down exactly what the industry expects from you, what you need to know, and what you need to master at every single stage of your career. Here's a question I hear all the time. Does more experience just automatically mean you get a top salary? You put in the years and the big paychecks should just follow, shouldn't it? Well, what if I told you the industry sees it very, very differently? And this right here is the absolute core of what we're talking about. Your salary doesn't just grow with time like a tree. It has to be earned. It has to be justified. Think about it. If an engineer with 10 years of experience only has the knowledge of a 5-year engineer, well, the company is going to pay them like a 5-year engineer. You have to earn every single step up. So, how do you earn it? Well, we're going to look at the first 20 years of a piping engineer's career as a ladder. Every rung on this ladder represents a new level of responsibility, a new set of skills, and yeah, a new salary bracket. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start at the very beginning, those foundational years as a junior engineer. Then we'll climb up to the design engineer level, where you really start to take ownership. After that, it's the senior engineer role, where you execute. And finally, we'll hit the top, the principal and lead engineer roles. So let's start at the bottom. All right, let's dive into this first stage. We're talking about the first 5 years of your career. This is where you are literally building the bedrock for everything, and I mean everything that comes next. At this point, the industry expects you to have a rock-solid grasp of the fundamentals. Your core knowledge has to be there. And you need to be fast. You need to be efficient with your 3D and 2D tools. But here's the real key. It's about connecting the dots. It's not enough to just know your daily tasks. You have to understand why you're doing them and how your little piece of the puzzle fits into and impacts the final project deliverables. Okay, let's move up to the next rung on the ladder. After about 5 years, you're not the junior anymore. This is the stage where the industry expects you to start taking real, tangible ownership of your work. Now pay close attention to this number, 70%. This is a critical industry benchmark. As a design engineer, you are expected to prepare at least 70% of the design single-handedly. Just think about that jump for a second. You've gone from a supporting role to handling most of the technical work yourself. The training wheels are officially off. Now, to hit that 70% mark, your skill set has to get a whole lot broader. You're now on the hook for everything from 3D modeling and creating 2D drawings to preparing layouts and material takeoffs. You're developing plot plans. You're expected to have a basic knowledge of stress analysis. But maybe the most critical new skill is this one at the bottom, an awareness of design compliance. Let's just pause on this term for a second because it is absolutely vital. Design compliance is basically the specific rulebook for piping around different kinds of equipment. See, every piece of machinery, a pump, a compressor, a turbine, it has its own unique set of design requirements. Now, you don't need to have every single rule memorized. And that is the key piece of wisdom for the stage. It's not about knowing everything. It's about knowing what you don't know. Having an awareness of design compliance means you know that a specific set of rules even exist. So if you're working on a turbine and you know there are rules, but you don't know them yourself, you know to go ask a senior engineer. And that awareness, right there, that's what prevents critical, very costly mistakes. All right, now we're moving up again. As a senior engineer, your world gets bigger. It expands way beyond just creating the design. Your focus shifts to the bigger picture. You're now executing the entire project. And with that bigger responsibility comes a much higher expectation. We're jumping from 70% all the way up to 90%. That's the industry benchmark for a senior engineer. You're expected to own and develop almost the entire design, all by yourself. You are now the go-to technical authority for your scope of work. So what this means is your role is now multifaceted. You're not just designing anymore. You're leading junior engineers, you're mentoring them, you're the face of the project in technical meetings with the client. And you're getting involved in estimations, which, directly impacts the company's bottom line. You are driving the project. This brings us to the very top of our 20-year ladder. And up here, the path often splits into two distinct but equally critical leadership roles, the principal engineer and the lead engineer. At the principal level, the expectation is absolute, 100%. You are now considered a true master of the craft. You have complete ownership and responsibility for the design. On all technical matters, the buck stops with you, period. So what does that mean day to day? Well, your main function is quality control at the absolute highest level. You're the final design reviewer. You're checking everything through multiple lenses: safety, constructability, operation, maintenance. You're always looking for ways to optimize every little aspect, from the layout to the materials, to ensure the best, most efficient design possible. And this slide right here lays out the fundamental difference between the two top roles. Think of it this way. The principal engineer is the ultimate technical authority. They are obsessed with perfecting the design itself. The lead engineer, on the other hand, is the ultimate project authority. They're obsessed with delivering that design on time and on budget. One focuses on the what, the other focuses on the how. The lead engineer role is often described with this term, techno-commercial, and it means you're basically living in two worlds at the same time. You have to ensure the technical quality of the work is top-notch, but you're equally responsible for the commercial side of things, the budget, the schedule, and managing the resources. Really, a lead engineer's job rests on these three pillars. First, just pure execution, getting the project done. Second, managing quality, and not just of the final design, but of the process the team follows. And third, and this might be the most important one, is effective delegation. A great lead engineer knows they aren't the expert in everything. Their skill is in putting the right expert on the right problem. So as we look back down this ladder we've just climbed, you can really see the evolution, can't you? You start out as a pure technical specialist, just honing your craft. And over 20 years, you evolve into either the ultimate master of that craft or a techno-commercial leader who guides the entire project from a simple idea to a finished reality. Understanding this 20-year path and proactively earning your spot on each rung, that's the key to maximizing your value and your salary. But it also leads to one last fascinating question. Once you've climbed this ladder, once you're a master of your domain, what's the next mountain you're going to climb? Whether that's senior management, consulting, or even starting your own firm, the journey doesn't have to end here.